this week specifically. For some of the touch points for this week that we had going on with our Share the Love, I don't know, now I guess you're, good luck. When people found out you were joining on, now we have a couple more people coming on, joining in. Hello, Jessica, how are we doing? Let's see. Can you hear me? That's good. Okay. Well, I guess first, did either of you guys have any questions? Anything specifically? Yeah, I can't hear you. You're muted right now.
Okay.
There we
Now
go.
can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah, I just haven't joined into any of these yet, but so I just wanted to. But
Okay.
I just want to let you know that I'm a member of several different card making Facebook groups,
Excellent.
and I'm always promoting you guys. And I'm hoping it's getting you additional people to donate cards. So
Yeah.
I hope so.
That's great. That's so I'm a marketing major, and it's what we always say is word of mouth, the most effective and efficient form of advertising. So thank
Yep.
you. That is very helpful.
Good.
So it's right now is because we're trying to figure out as we're growing, partnering with a couple other nonprofits, like we just yesterday and later on today, sending a bunch of a couple thousand cards to different Make-A-Wish chapters and bookmarks to other schools. So trying to see like if we're this uptick in cards that we received from Q4, if this is going to be something that's consistent. Because the big thing is like if we do partner with new hospitals and partner with a bunch of new senior homes in, I always get it, Montreal, trying to make sure that we'll always have enough cards for them. So that's always a little bit fearful because there will be sometimes you'll have some groups who will join in and make like 1,000 cards or 5,000 cards, and then you'll never hear from them again. So I think that's great that you're passing the word on to people who may make cards like on a more consistent basis, so you'll hear from them a little bit more. So thank you for that.
Good. Yeah, this one lady had like, I don't know how many cards she posted, and she goes, I just took a bunch of these to a local senior center and distributed them. She goes, I just don't know what to do with the rest. And I said, well, here's an idea for you.
Yeah. That's the big thing is like with we've seen is a lot of people have made cards and necessarily know what to do with them. And it's kind of like that's our almost like you could say like the middleman, kind of helping people figure out what to do with their artwork. And it's trying to encourage people to do more of the custom and making each one of the cards individual, because our big thing is trying to reach some of the seniors and reach some of the children and some of the people who are overlooked. So I don't know if you guys have seen some of the stuff on our social media, but what we have going on later on this week is our Share the Love. And the big thing is if people purchase some of this Kendra Scott jewelry, purchase one of those on the 6th or 7th and using our code, then they're going to donate a piece of jewelry to a women's shelter. So those are like our different partners where we've been sending cards. But the big thing is we've been sending cards to the children who have been there. So these are like children who've been abused. Like most likely it was the children and the mothers have been abused there and are there at the shelters. We've always been sending cards to the children there. But now with this, over these next few days, we're going to be able to encourage the women who are there too and sending them some jewelry. I was talking to one of the locations and they were so excited. They were like, one of our partners in Mississippi, they were like, this is so exciting. We'll be able to give this jewelry to some of the women as they get their GEDs and give it to them for Mother's Day and get, so trying to encourage our partners in a lot of different ways because these people who we're serving are going through some tough situations.
That's awesome. I did see that, and I did check out the website. So yeah, very nice stuff.
That's what it is. If that's our big thing for this, this whole little Valentine's Day push is, share the love. So we'll be trying to get people to not just making Valentine's Day cards, but making love cards, sharing the love, and making it something where the people who are receiving these cards are able to receive and feel loved, all year round. So that's our goal there. And it's a lot.
Oh, and by the way, I'm one of the card ladies.
I saw the name. I was thinking it was official, but I wasn't. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. The card ladies.
And we have another batch on its way to you. Well, it's not on the way yet, but it's almost on the way.
Okay. That's big time. Jessica, do you know the card ladies?
Pardon?
I was asking Jessica if she knew the card ladies, if she knew about the infamous world-renowned. Have you heard about the card ladies?
No, I have not.
Okay. They're one of our groups down in Florida. They have I can post in the chat. They made a video and everything, and they're like a world-renowned group who makes infamous cards for us. And so a lot of times people ask for their autographs and everything, but there's we can post like a YouTube video that they made for us. They make some of the top cards, but because
don't believe him, Justine. We're not world renowned.
There's a YouTube video of you guys and everything.
3 daughters.
There's a YouTube video and everything, but you can say what you like. And it's are you part of any of the Facebook groups or the mail chat? Because it's how it is with Cards for Kids is there's making cards broadly for all kinds of people who need encouragement, but then also for example, the volunteer who was over here, she was able to take some cards that were personalized for her because she was going through COVID. So we do it differently where we have like different kinds of ways that you can make cards, people making cards broadly, or if you're part of one of our different groups, you can also make cards for individuals who need encouragement if you're a part of one of those groups.
I have made cards and sent them in 2 batches in the past November and December, October or November. It's just that I am not sure whether you have received them. I am just by myself. I mean, I'm not part of any organization. I make cards and I saw that Cards for Kids are accepting this homemade cards. So I sent them twice. The first are mostly the bookmarks.
Okay.
Although I did not really put any inspiring words in it, just plain bookmarks. So now I'm reading that it would be nice if you give some inspiring words and not only encourage them to read, but also encourage them with the words that you sent through the bookmarks. And then the second batch of cards that I sent were mostly for kids, colorful. But it's just that I'm not sure whether they have been received and distributed because I am now starting to work on non-Christmas cards, and I have a couple or maybe a dozen or so right now that I'm still working on some others. So
are you, when you send those cards, are you like including your like what kind of information are you including? Like
the first one, I think I did not have Instagram yet, but I put on my email address. The second one, I created an Instagram account because that I read again that you reply through Instagram. So still, I have not received any indication or any acknowledgement that it was received.
Yeah. So it's one thing is, for clarification, like, as we all know, this part doesn't need to be said, I'm sure, but COVID-19 changed everything. I'm sure, as
Yes,
we
I know.
all know, like, there in the past, we had events at, local bars, and events at, had something set up with the Chicago public libraries where we get people to count cards there. And those were all different kinds of things are set up where there was multiple volunteers going through to count, helping us count and sort through and proof these cards. But with that, there's, with COVID, not able to do those kinds of card counting events anymore, because everything has to be done from home. And we did have something where the Chicago, or Volunteering Untapped Chicago, came to help and volunteer and count cards, and they were doing it from home. And the way that worked out is they came, picked up packages, and then counted them from home and brought them back, like the unopened packages, and we were scheduling them on social media. But the issue, how that worked out, is some of the volunteers brought some of the packages back to us. So, if you, oh, never mind, I have this on my background. I don't know if you guys saw the picture of the card delivery today that was on social media. You can see in the background, that's my condo. And you can see that it's usually all lined up in terms of the order for when we get the card, so we can make sure this card was received on this date, and always making sure it was in order. But with that Volunteering Untapped, how it came is some cards were returned, so that order and that process was all, out of line. But that's what intentionally put those, because this is a question that we get a lot. People are saying, I sent my cards, were my cards received? I didn't get any kind of notification, etc. So based on that kind of feedback that we get, we set something up with Salesforce, and now we're working on it. That was a call that I had this morning, where we'll now be able to do it where people will get automatic notifications through their email that their cards were received. That's something that's being worked on with our volunteers. And then, I don't know if you guys made cards, but one of our, Dawn and Dan, oh, you guys can't see it, but Dawn and Dan, the people who are working on it, had COVID. So that whole Salesforce process is slowed down. But working on it so that people would be able to get automatic notifications that their cards were received. In addition, working, I guess the other big issue is that with Q4, this was something that was posted, we received more cards in Q4 2020 than we did in all of 2019. And so a lot of people are saying, like, I didn't receive, I think it's great, but some people who are saying, like, I didn't see a picture of my cards, what's going on? It's like, we, have less volunteers. The Salesforce system isn't up and ready yet because of people have COVID, and we have more cards, so there's a lot going on in the background. Cards were received, there was a prior video where we were getting this, and I interviewed the people at the UPS mailbox, and, kind of made it clear, hey, you guys are getting my cards right. You're not doing anything with them. So if you shipped a card, it was received. I can do another interview with the UPS people here, but cards are received, and you can feel secure about that.
Yeah, Jessica, don't worry about it. I'm sure that every single one of your cards was received, counted, and sent off to someone else. I mean, I am so impressed with EK and your whole organization, which is why I'm always encouraging everyone I know who makes cards to send you some. I mean, I think the organization is fabulous, and I don't even know how you ever manage to post the receipts of cards you get as much as you do. I don't know how you do it.
Can't you
but
see the bags?
yeah,
You know, I mean,
I see it.
that's some late nights. That's I thought it was pretty evident.
I'm
But
sure.
it is that's what it. And then another thing is we're getting now more volunteers. So with COVID, you know, the tough part. There's someone reached out. You know, maybe here we can do some brainstorming. Someone reached out about volunteering, and they're in town for Chicago for 2 weeks, and they want to volunteer. And most people who volunteer to count cards who've never done it before, like it'll be, you know, us doing like a teleconference or them coming here at least the first time or whatever. But this is someone who's never done it and is in town from out of town, and it's you know, female. So I'm not really sure about like, hey, come over to my condo and let's, you know, come count cards by myself. I'd be like, I don't really know you.
Yeah, sure.
Exactly. So it was like trying to see about some of the Starbucks, but Starbucks doesn't let people come in there and sit down just yet. So trying to see, there are more volunteers, but it's just, you know, as we were mentioning before, with COVID, trying to figure out a way to use volunteers. So it's, if people making a card, we always keep the updates on our website. Like on our website, if you look on the donate page, you'll see the chart that says, you know, through Q3 2019, meaning not all the cards for Q4 2019, or sorry, saying 2019, Q4 or Q3 2020. And if meaning not all the cards for Q4 2020 have been, you know, tallied. So we're at over, you know, 50,000, but we're still not completely tracked and totaled. There's still some that are out with volunteers. There's still a whole row here in the living room. So we're still working on it.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'd rather that you receive our cards and send them on than count them and give me credit for sending them to you. And you know, I think that's the most important. That's why we're doing it. We're not doing it because we want to get credit for it. We're doing it because we believe in your cause.
That was something. It was receiving a couple pieces of feedback of people asking about their card, people wanting that, and so that was a poll was put up asking people in terms of their priority, and so it was kind of trying to see, like, right now, you know, about to purchase 2 iPads this week for 2 different hospitals, and you know, then I'm about to purchase entertainment system for another hospital in Florida, in Miami. And with this, you know, we're purchasing so much for these hospitals and trying to see if people's preferences, if they were thinking, you know, we shouldn't be spending as much on the kids. And instead people were thinking, you know, we should hire some people so we can count cards faster, because people are more interested in seeing, did you receive my card? You know, because if we were paying people, then we'd be able to track cards faster and, you know, be able to show that service. So trying to get an idea of how this was, you know, post that poll up there and trying to get an idea of how this was people's opinion, because that's you know, we always put polls like you guys picked our logo, you guys picked all that. So, but people in that poll said servicing kids was #1, or servicing kids and seniors was #1.
Yeah, I didn't see that poll, so I didn't get to participate, but I would definitely agree with that. I mean, the whole mission is to serve the kids and to serve the seniors, you know, that are lonely and need some encouragement. And that's the whole point. So I, if I would have seen that poll, that's what I would have voted for.
Yeah.
Serve those kids and seniors.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're trying to, you know, it's expensive with these systems. We did do some negotiating, but with these iPads and entertainment systems, and you know, sending a bunch of them all across the, well, sorry, not all across the country, all across the globe. So that's been the big thing now. That's our main. Okay. Some of the other thing, I think, well, going through some of the background, I feel like a lot of you guys know the main parts, but I'll go through some of the frequently asked questions that we have here, and we'll go through it a little bit quicker, since I feel, you know, both of you guys have made cards in the past, but we'll, you know, any questions, just let me know and we can slow down on these. So obviously you guys are all on the same page that we're still accepting cards through COVID-19. With this here, like people looking into other ways to potentially get involved, both of you guys are making cards. And I think something, you know, Jessica, what you brought up in terms of the making cards or making the bookmarks, I think it was great, like what you brought up with the bookmarks in terms of changing. Like that was something that were originally receiving a lot of bookmarks that were blank or didn't have messages, but I think it was great, like how you said, you know, now recognizing that and making more cards or, you know, bookmarks with messages, that kind of thing. So that's what we're trying to get across with other people who are making those. So hopefully other people follow along with that as well. You know, donating funds, because that's something that we're doing, as we're getting these entertainment systems, iPads, you know, shipping cards around the world. We've been getting a lot of those, whether that's online or in checks. We get a lot of that from the card ladies with their packages that they send, or letters they send. For some of the people in the Chicago area, like the volunteer who was coming that we were talking about a little bit earlier, where we were trying to find a Starbucks or something, doing some of the prep cards for deliveries. That's what we've been trying to do. Some more people who've been helping us proof cards. So it was the past 2 days, I've had people over here volunteering. So if you guys have any connections in the Chicago area who would be willing to help proof and do some of the behind the scenes volunteering. And then also, like Dan was saying, she does spread the word, because that's what we're, you know, we do have a little bit of, you know, a Facebook grant where they're helping us with some of the advertising, but, you know, we're not really spending any money doing marketing. So it's pretty much all word of mouth. That's what's most important. This here is one of the main thing, like people ask where the cards are being sent, and that's something that's forever expanding, is being sent, you know, all around the world to all different kinds of places. I think the top one is a little bit sad in terms of schools. So that's where, you know, if there is like the first place that we sent cards to was a Sandy Hook school shooting. Or the first place outside of like a hospital that we sent cards to, I think, was the Sandy Hook school shooting. But if there is any kind of trouble at school, or like a school bus accident, something like that, we'll send cards to there. But, you know, hospitals, foster homes and Ronald McDonald houses. Now it's definitely increasing a lot more with like Make-A-Wish partnerships and other kinds of places like that. Also working now with a lot more senior homes, sending cards to those kind of places. I was originally thinking about it with some of the seniors who were impacted by COVID, but understanding, hearing back from them how they are just loving these kind of letters and finding these kind of connections more important. So I don't think this is not something that you guys would need, but with this here, in terms of our guidelines and requests, guessing with the two of you guys not needing the main part because you already know being creative, but the second part here with the other part with the uplifting spirits, I wrote that blog post in terms of what not to write, not writing get well soon. And for this, I was kind of using my story with Cards for Kids. You know, you can say like, you know, being a gentleman with epilepsy and having brain surgery kind of shapes a lot about what Cards for Kids, you know, how it's been organized. So, you know, how we're buying the entertainment systems that can go room to room and the iPads that can help kids in their room. Those are all, you know, kind of based on what I went through as a patient. Or what, let me say, I always speak in past tense. What I'm going through, have been through throughout my time as a patient. But this other part here, what is saying is like, stay strong, instead of a message like stay strong, which is more of like a commandment, telling these kids like, and telling these people like, we see you're going through a difficult situation, stay strong. Instead of that kind of command, it should be more of like what we're saying is like a proclamation, like you're strong, something that is more uplifting and not making it clear that you see something's wrong with that child, but instead just proclaiming something positive.
And that was, I really like that, because that, I was, in the beginning, I was sending a lot of cards like stay strong and that kind of thing. And once I read that, I went, oh my gosh, I never even thought about that. As being a healthy person with no, you know, medical issues, not going through anything like that, it never even dawned on me that you're strong is much better than stay strong. And I so appreciated that bit of advice. And I hope that's been reflected in the cards.
Yeah, it's good. And I think it was the other, I don't know if that you guys saw that other blog post, but it was the one from Akron Children's Hospital. And that was, you know, giving you guys some inside information. It was, so we're partnering with Akron Children's Hospital. And, you know, we usually try to say partnering with hospitals that are smaller and maybe overlooked, but Akron is a large one, and we're breaking the rules there because my sister works there. She's a pediatric neurologist with a specialty in epilepsy. So it's like, all right, that's my sister, and she'll give cards to her patients who have epilepsy. We're going through my same condition. Like, I know they'll all be hand delivered, understood. And in that story, my sister gave a card to one of her patients, and it was like, you know, you're one tough cookie. And that girl who she gave it to replied like, why do people keep telling me this? I hate when people tell me I'm a tough cookie. You know, no one wants a tough cookie. They want something that's warm and sweet and blah, 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 you know. And it's like, that's a great point. And I felt, you know, that Akron wrote that story and quoted my sister. And it's like, I'm sorry, sis, like I gave you that card to give to her, you know, like, but we get so many tough cookie cards. And that's just a direct quote, an example from a patient who's saying like, you know, I don't want to be a tough cookie. Those are, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Oreos and those are pretty tough and hard, but you know, it's not kind of what people are looking for, rather something positive. Yeah.
And I didn't realize I wasn't looking at it from their perspective. I was looking at it as being encouraging, to anybody. And it, those blog posts that you write are just fabulous for helping keep me on track.
Mm. That's what I'm gonna try doing, is writing more from the first person, just so people can see a little bit more of like what, patient's perspective and our perspective, and getting a little bit like understanding of what is taking place, because get to see and hear a little bit more, just kind of making sure people see and understand what it's like. But yeah, because that stay strong versus you're strong is something that we get a lot, and it is that's what, just wanting to say, like, putting out proclamation telling these people, like, something positive. Don't want to let them think like we can see there's something wrong with, just putting out positive proclamations. That's what we say.
Yep.
And that's, kind of touching on the next point right there is, and I think, I'm guessing you guys being creative, crafty, I know, Diana, you do for sure, but, with a lot of these people having these long-term conditions, needing, will be in the hospital for a long time or other kinds of stuff. So needing these cards for longer periods of time. So that's based on that. That's why we recommend that people use cardstock over construction paper, because construction paper, may last, a couple weeks, if that, a month maybe, but cardstock is something that can last for a long time, last for years, etc. So, I've heard stories of, from mothers, and I'm gonna say it was primarily mothers, but let's just say parents, who it was like, parents grab the phone keys wallet, and then the child grabs the card on their way to the doctor's appointment. That's what the child always grabs, because that's something that they feel comfortable with as they're going to the doctor's appointment. So just something to do. And then the last one is the fuzzball pipe cleaner, something we get a lot. And this mainly, two parts. One, not sticking to the cards, often falling off. And the other part is less sanitary. Thinking about like someone coughing on it and germs carrying on it. And, also carrying on with this too is, as we're thinking like, COVID-19, you can think so much about like ventilators. We heard from some of our partners about like glitter, and people using like sprinkle glitter. And we've heard directly from some of our partners about how they hate that sprinkle glitter, and that's something that's fallen and gotten into the ventilators and messed those up. So they can't accept those. So it's the kind of thing where we don't send any of those cards with like sprinkle glitter to our hospitals, because it can impact the ventilators that they're using. So it's just like glitter glue, or that whole blog post. It's a bit fuzzy, it's like, would the kids like it? Yeah. Would the hospitals like it? It's questionable. Would we accept it? I don't know. It's a bit fuzzy, kind of a play on words there.
And that's really a good point too, because my mom and I were making some cards with balloons, and we immediately pulled out our twine to make like strings for the balloons. And then we thought, maybe the twine's not such a good idea, just because it is fibrous and, it can absorb things. And so we didn't use the twine, we drew the lines.
Yeah.
But, it's something you have to think about.
Yeah, it's so it's with something that, now that we have these entertainments, like now that we're donating these entertainment systems, it's improved communication with higher level people at these partners, at these different hospitals and nonprofits, et cetera, and with the jewelry as well. So with some of them, I've heard back, now starting to hear back from other people, and they're saying like, oh, especially during COVID, like, oh, do you spray do you spray down all the cards to make sure there's no germs? You know, following up with that. And it's like, you know, no, we don't spray down all the cards, but you know, we do set them aside and we make sure we don't look into them for at least 2 weeks to make sure that, you know, there's not germs, and we send them in a sealed Ziploc bag. And you know, it's something that everyone does. Like, oh, okay, you know, that's something that we have to, you know, since we are partnering with a lot of senior homes, and you know, we're partnering with a lot of seniors and kids with pre-existing conditions, so we have to be extra cautious with what we do.
So I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I've recently started dabbling in a lot of like polymer clay and making stuff, you know, all kinds of stuff. And one of the things I was making was like a butterfly pin out of clay, you know, that you could wear.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking how I could incorporate that onto a card that could be given, and if that was something appropriate. Since it's polymer clay, I mean, it's a dried, sturdy surface.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know if that would be acceptable or not. And
It it's something where I think, because it's, we've given, you know, we've gotten like toys, and you know, someone donated like hundreds of baseball cards, and you know, so we've donated other stuff to our partners that wasn't, you know, just cards, you know. So if it was something that you weren't necessarily able to attach to a card, it's something where we would, like, if there were a couple, like we could donate to one of our, you know, hospitals as well. Like, here's some butterfly pins as well, you know, because we do have, let me see if I can grab them. If I didn't give them all out. Yeah. I don't know if it'll work. Like, you know, give them some of these butterfly bookmarks, and that butterfly pin could go together well, you know. So
would that be
that's
something that would you think would be acceptable?
I think so. Like, especially because it's we we do have, like, with our partners. So yes, I do think it would be acceptable, and it's something that wouldn't necessarily need to be on a card. And it's like, with our partners, there's such a wide variety, you know, in terms of some who are super stick, like super stiff, and then some who are much more open in terms of what they do and what they accept, et cetera. So, and there's now partnering with some new organizations as well, you know, which makes it, you know, we're partnering now with, you know, like Make-A-Wish, and this other organization called like the Jared Box. So it's where we're sending them cards, and then they're sending them to children or hospitals, and like to give to children individually. So it's you know, almost like they're the middlemans now, so they'd be able to give them to massive amounts of kids in their local areas, not just to the hospitals. So still reaching those kids who have those conditions, and they're a little bit more open about it.
Awesome. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And actually, but thinking about the pin, I was focusing on the butterfly, thinking about the pin. Is it like a sharp point at the end? Like, is it something where like someone would be, I'm just thinking now about them poking themselves.
I know. That's why I haven't done it yet, because
Okay.
I was worried about that. Because I
If
mean,
it,
they are meant to like go through a lapel or a shirt front, or, you know,
yeah,
to be
okay.
worn. And
If it was something more like clipping, oh, okay. So if it was like that, I think I would need to follow up with I'm thinking now, like, that would be more of not to any of our children, but maybe more to one of our senior places, where, you know, because I think like our children may be a little bit more scared of like the kids poking themselves accidentally or something like that, you know, but
I know, that's what I was worried about, but
uh, I can check with some of
well,
our
think about it and just let me know. You can
yeah,
send me a text or something,
yeah. I'll
but
check with
it's something that I love to do. I love to work with the clay, and I've been trying to find a way to use that for you. And the pins was what I came up with, but I think there's some bookmarks, like putting a clay thing on the top of a large paper clip to use as a bookmark also, but I just didn't want to go there. But I don't know, I've been just trying to think about this new fun thing that I like playing with and how I could use it for you guys. So
yeah, I'll check with my like
maybe
two
a
of my
pendant.
contacts. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
don't know, maybe like a pendant on a ribbon string that could be a necklace, or I don't know.
yeah. Necklace would okay.
Just an idea.
Yeah, I'll look into.
But I didn't want to send you a whole bunch of stuff that you couldn't use.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. Okay. I'll check in with both of those people, my main two contacts there. Okay. Um, this is something, you know, we chat about, mention a lot on social media and talk about is avoiding holiday cards. And we did talk about this a little bit earlier, but you know, people who are serving need encouragement year round, and often also we do get a big influx of cards, you know, right around the holidays. So whether that's, you know, Christmas, Valentine's Day, St. Patrick's Day, whatever, you know, encouraging people not to make cards that say that, you know, so if it was St. Patrick's Day, instead of saying like Happy St. Patrick's Day, just saying like, you know, I feel lucky around you, you know, something like that. You know, if you were super in the mood, you know, Valentine's Day, you're making a card on Valentine's Day, you're like, just so, you know, just we all love you, we all will love you, you know, you're using the L word and making it Valentine, but just avoiding those holidays. This is something big right now here. Cards in different languages. Right now, changing up the languages that were mainly needed. What was it? It was Creole that I was just sending to our hospital in Haiti that we didn't have enough in. And then what was the other language that were, yeah. There's a couple, yeah, couple languages that are often short on. Like these other, Spanish is the number one need, obviously, as I'm sure as you can imagine. I was needing cards in Spanish for both the US and globally. But now, as we're growing and reaching different partners, you know, across the globe, needing more cards in other languages. So, yeah. French is big now as well, because as we are growing in Haiti and growing in Canada, you know, that's increasing. I'm a little bit worried about, you know, actually going into France. And then Italian, that is increasing, just because potentially getting more Ronald McDonald houses over there as well. I think this needs to be changed because we just got a new address, but we'll always keep our address on our site. And
You have a new address?
yep, we do. It's the what I recommend is always to always visit our how-to page, and we'll always keep the how-to and contact us and frequently asked questions. All of those websites will be updated. So if you look on that, that'll show our address.
Oh, okay, because I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to go check that and make sure I have your latest address every time.
Yeah, so we posted the social post of all of the UPS employees who were smiling from all of our from our prior mailbox. So it's, still can send packages there because our contract ends within a month, but trying to get people to be prepared to make that change. And it's, we're friends with all those people. They've made cards, they've done whatever, so we'll stay connected, but just trying to make that connection or getting everyone prepared to make that transition. Okay. And this right here is like a big thing that's missing. Like a lot of people will send us pictures of their cards or send us, pictures of the cards, but very few people are actually sending us pictures of themselves, or pictures of the screenshot. So it's what we're trying to prove is that like volunteering is fun, and we want to get some pictures of the artists themselves rather than just pictures of cards. And that's what our main goal is. And it's like, that the kids love, it'd be a kid's dream to be able to see this artist made my card. That would be their dream, where like, this artist all the way in Florida made my card. So we're trying to get more people to, whether it's taking a selfie, having someone else pose and take the picture, just trying to get more pictures of individuals making the cards. And, that's our encouragement.
Yeah, that's hard to do. Nobody wants to send you a picture, a selfie. I don't.
You gotta.
But I can't guarantee on that one.
That they created the phrase for us. Take one for the team. That was actually created for Cards for Kids. That phrase.
That's a pretty awesome one, and I'll try to work on that. But I don't know. That's a tough one.
Take one picture for the team. That's
okay.
That's how it is. Take one picture for the team.
Okay.
All right, and this one here is for you, Jessica. We added this in here. And this is all what's currently in here is, it's using social media right now, whether it's Instagram or Twitter, will be the main ways it's being notified. And I think how it is, telling the volunteers, new volunteers, when you're counting the cards and you post it, we give them an Excel sheet to track it, include the Instagram or Twitter handle, and send that over. And it's the main thing is, like I said, this is a record-setting quarter, so we need more time to track it. We're still counting Q4 cards, we'll need some more time, but it will be as we do transition and go into, conquering COVID and move into our new Salesforce system, still can include Instagram and Twitter for social media purposes, but also including an email. And for that, you'll be able to get a immediate email notification once the cards are counted. Still will be, a couple of weeks, but then it will be also giving you social media recognition as well. But either way, the cards are received on this end, and we'll do different ways to give you an alert. So those are some of the different ways to get a hold of us and hashtags and how we're up there. And I think one thing too is question for you guys is something we are discussing is do you guys have Amazon, whether you're using cards for kids or something else, we are discussing is do you guys use Amazon Smile?
Yes, I do. And I got notification of how much money you got from my Amazon Smile.
Excellent.
I was very excited.
Excellent. Yes.
Now, on the hashtags, usually when I'm recommending you to a card making site or something, I do a hashtag cards for kids.
So
and does that work or?
it for that we won't get the notification. So
Okay.
it's better if
I
you
have to do one of these.
well, these are just like, we'll look into it's better if you do, I don't if you're using if you're using Facebook or Instagram or whatever, if you
It's
do
usually
like
Facebook.
if you do like a at cards for kids, then we'll get a notification that we were mentioned on that post.
Oh, okay. I
And
usually did the hashtag, not the at.
yeah, so
So,
if you do
okay.
like an at, then people would be able to click on it directly and go to our page, and we get the notification and be able to go to it, etc.
I
And
saw
these,
Susan B. Cards noticed one of my plugs for you guys on one of these Facebook groups. And I thought, oh, I know that person. I don't
mhm.
know her, but I know that name.
Oh yeah, Susan B. Card. Yeah, she Illinois person. Yeah, she's a consistent.
Yes.
Yeah, we got some, and that's like Jessica, what you were saying about being an independent artist. It's surprising we have Google, Microsoft, Capital One, all these large corporations who are joining in. I know there's a time when it was Capital One Cafe was I shouldn't say threatening, or was, I don't know, they were making comments about how they were going to become number one and they were going to beat independent artists. And they were tweeting about it. But independent artists now are way ahead of everyone. It's like by far the number one source is people making cards in their free time, what we call independent artists. So, even though we're partnering with all kinds of, University of Michigan, Stanford, Northwest, all kinds of all kinds of schools, community groups, corporations, whatever. It's people making cards on their own is number one.
Well, that's all my kids who work for corporations are all working from home. Mm-hmm. And they have worked from home since March. So yep. There's not that opportunity to have those lunchroom card making sessions because no one's in a lunchroom.
Well, it's what we've seen that was one of the reasons there was a large tick in Q4 is because there was a lot more Boeing and Intel and a lot more corporations started volunteering with Cards for Kids because some of the corporations who were big into community service, they were no longer able to go to soup kitchens and some of the other standard volunteering that they had done before. But here was something where they could do video conferencing and everyone could, order some art supplies on Amazon and make cards, get video conferencing, everyone order your art supplies, and you're helping seniors and kids in hospitals to people directly impacted by COVID. Afterwards, you just mail your cards in there, everyone do it from home. So it was like, you're reaching people really who need help during this time, and you can do it all from home. So that was one of the reasons that we saw the big uptick at the end of the year as well.
So Boeing is a big contributor?
Boeing, there was a increase from Boeing. They haven't made as many, but there was a lot of questions from them, and they started off, and some of their cards are making. So it's like another big one. A bigger one was Ally Bank, and with like Ally Bank, they have made a bunch of cards, but the issue with some of the companies who do it. So like, for example, Boeing, I'm not sure how big it really was, but like the issue with like Ally Bank is some of the employees for Ally made cards and sent them in, but didn't say, I'm with Ally. Does that make sense? Like they just sent, we may have just gotten a card from, hey, using Jessica, like, hey, this is Jessica, and didn't say, or, just had their return address and didn't say anything about like, I'm part of Boeing. And we saw there was like a whole bunch of like the same card from a whole bunch of different people. And it was like, one of these people said Ally Bank and have a feeling they're all Ally Bank, but being a data analyst, being overprotective, it's like, I'm not going to associate and give those all to them. But
I was just wondering because my husband and I both retired from Boeing. And
so
I'd be very pleased to know that they were contributing.
So you were the one who told Boeing?
I chose you for Smile Amazon.
Okay, I was wondering who was the one who told Boeing about us, and I guess it was you. Let's see how much they've. That's interesting. I wonder. Yeah, so Boeing has made a total of 63 cards.
Well, that's nothing.
Hey, every card counts. Every card
I
counts.
I know, but yeah, I might have to reach out to some of those Boeing people.
Hey, works for me. Works for
I still
me.
have lots of friends who work there.
Yeah, but yeah, if you can start. We would love more connections. It's something where trying now to do, doing more Make-A-Wish partnerships. Because originally with Make-A-Wish, it was reaching kids who had their wishes delayed, because it's like, kids who wanted to go to Disney World or kids who wanted to go to a baseball game or, obviously these kids who have life-threatening conditions with weakened immune systems can't go to a baseball game during COVID. So that was like our original thing, was like just partnering with some Make-A-Wish chapters, helping kids who were delayed. But then, talked to Make-A-Wish Georgia, and they were, so that's what it was originally. Make-A-Wish Illinois, we were helping them with some of their temporary people who were delayed. But then talked to Make-A-Wish Georgia, and they were like, this is great. Like, we would love these cards, for, they were saying their current kids and what they called alumni, people who had passed through. And then they said, this is amazing. One of their children, their wish was to reward the staff at the hospital.
I saw that. That was awesome. And we sent cards for them.
Yeah. That's, I mean, it's the hospital we talked about. I don't know if you saw that blog post, but Southern Hospitality is, one of our hospitals that we used to partner with. And I'm like, oh, okay, makes sense. That hospital's a little bit special. But that
child is special.
That child is amazing. Yeah. I mean, if you told me like, Ike, you can do anything you want in the world. I mean, don't get me wrong, University of Michigan is great. My neurosurgeon came to my college graduation party. But if he said you can do anything in the world, I wouldn't say like, let me give a gift to my, to the University of Michigan. I'd be a little bit more selfish than that. A special child. Yeah. So
Very.
Okay, I have another meeting at 2:15. So I think I'm going to leave at this point,
Okay.
and I will continue making cards and look for that new address. So I will not be sending it to the old one.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all underlined. I think it's easiest underlined on our how-to page, or we're
Okay.
getting a lot of people contacting us on our contact us page asking for the address. So it's on our contact us page as well.
Okay.
Bless you,
Thank
Jessica. You're my kindred
you.
spirit.
You too. Thank you. I just have to go now.
All right. Thank you.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right.
it's just